Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for May 28th. How's everyone doing? My name is Eric. I am the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely phenomenal show lined up for you today. My boy David, aka Better DP21. Him and I are going to share some MLB bets for Wednesday. We're going to look back at the betting weekend. Plus, Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we jump into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Parlay Play. If you're not using Parlay Play, you are missing out. Go to the App Store, download the Parlay Play app, use promo code NFL Betting Blitz for a nice little deposit bonus. Now, let's shift our attention over to Santa Anita and see what Gino has for his horse racing bet of the day.
We got a best bet for you at Santa Anita coming on Friday, and it might look like you're watching a repeat of last week because we're actually going to give you the same exact horse that we gave you last week that won at 9-2. This horse Refocus won at 4.5-1 last week, and I think Refocus is going to get the same sort of trip that he got last week. Look at this field inside to out. The one Mystic Spirit, he wants to be forwardly placed. He has early speed. Then you have Prince Prancelot. He wants to go. He just doesn't seem like the type of horse who's ever shown that he can sit off the pace. Known Idea. He wants to be forwardly placed. Both Prince Prancelot and Known Idea, they've been showing speed sprinting, as has Traveling Show. All of these horses have been going shorter and they've been showing speed. Now they're going longer. You have a horse like Refocus who has not gone this trip, but look at his last few starts, in particular, the winning effort on May the 24th. Taking back, closing, that was what was successful for him. I think they're going to go right back to that again. Refocus. Let's see if we can get you the same winner back-to-back weeks here as he returns in just 7 days. The quick turnaround for a horse like this, it really doesn't bother me because with his running style in that race, he didn't even have to run hard all that often. He dropped way to the back. He was dead last, and then he just ran the last quarter mile when he came flying late. Let's give Refocus a shot to run them all down again in race 4 at Santa Anita. Good luck to all of you with all of your plays this week, and we'll be here each and every week. Next week, we'll be talking about the Belmont as we're getting closer to the third jewel in racing's Triple Crown. Whatever you need when you're playing the races, make sure to head to drf.com.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. Him and I do our NBA shows every day. There's a playoff game, plus I'm on his podcast every single Friday talking NBA, NFL, college basketball, you name it. I am talking with him about it. Now let's welcome the man of the hour, all the way from Colorado, my boy David. David, how you doing today, my man?
Good, man. Good. How you been, man?
Well, dude, I'm not as good as you after the Angels home run. I mean, I have had the pleasure of knowing you for 4 years now. And I can honestly say that's the happiest I have ever seen you with the Angels home run. I mean, for those who don't know, every time I do the show with the guest on, we have a little back and forth, lay out the plan, stuff we want to mention and everything. And I'm mid-sentence about something. David starts just starts talking and goes, "Yeah, come on," gets up, huge fist bump for an Angels home run. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on here? Like, happiest I have ever seen you.
How are you never going to be happy when you see your bet start to turn a corner to be winning, right? Like that is always a fist pump moment for me. Should be for anybody, like I posted my plays earlier today for anybody that was watching, or just tailing me at that point. But I put out Angels first 5 money line, plus 155, and so that's a pretty big dog bet to turn the corner on right there. So when I see a home run like that, I'm like, let's go.
When will you stop betting Towns over? So look, I'm looking at the box score right now. He's got 15 fucking points.
He's married to him, man. Married to him.
15 points. I am married. The thing is, he can't shoot this bad. You know what I mean? Like, he's wide open. He shot 50% from the floor on the season, 41% on the from 3. Now, here's something. Do the Wolves have the chance to come back and win the series? They have been outscored by 13 points for the series. Okay? Towns and Ant have shot 33% combined.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like if they win this game, they go back home, win another game. Defense is different with no Lively. That could get a little interesting, dude. All I'm saying is that could get a little interesting. That could get just a little interesting.
If you got that much faith in it, go for it. I'm sure the Wolves are like plus 1,500 right now.
Yeah,
to win this series. Like, go put $25 on it or something small. Like,
I'm just saying, like, I see, I have a vision in my head how it can play out, though. That's my thing.
Sure.
Bobby Thomas, what's up? It's kind of funny. I've known Bobby since high school, and
Nice.
I was driving back, and he had just called me, and this is why I was fired up. I went to my parents over the weekend, and I'm interested to hear your take on this. I was listening to Sirius XM radio, just flicking through, stopped on their fantasy channel, started listening to that, and this one guy was talking, saying how he almost cashed his big 3-team parlay yesterday. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like listening to this. I'm like, oh, they're talking about betting on this channel. Let me see what's going on. And I usually don't listen to sports talk radio. This guy was saying how close he was to winning his big 3-team parlay. Guess what the odds were on that combined?
Kind of been more than plus, like, I don't know, 300 maybe 400
plus 130. Plus what he was I'm sorry. Plus 130. What the excuse my language. What the fuck are we doing here? Like this is gonna be my bitter old man rant right now.
That man must have had the most favorites of all favorites on that.
My old man rant right now. I'm an old school guy. I had this guy teach me a lot of stuff. He's older than I am. He's insanely old school. And if you are parlaying stuff together and you're not getting at min what you would get like in a 3-team parlay, if you parlay 3 things together, it should be a little under 6-1.
Yeah.
On minus 110 odds.
Right.
If you're not getting that at min, it's an awful bet in my eyes. Just awful. Just done. I don't care if it wins. I don't care if it loses. It's just an awful bet in my eyes.
Yeah.
And you guys have to understand. My parlays are this. I'll put together on college football, I'll put together a nice little 4-team round robin parlay. That's it. Nice little round robin parlay, 4 teams.
Love round robins.
But I never play more than plus 150. That's like it. I usually have like a plus 50, plus 205, stuff like that. And then for college football, I will hypothetically, let's say I like Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
His over-under prop is 65. I will take that. I'll juice it up to over 80 yards, get that at a better number. And I'll pick 3 other players and I'll just juice them up. So that way it's a low risk, high reward type of thing. I'm listening to this thing and I'm like, this guy is on Sirius radio and he's hooting and hollering about a 3-team parlay that plays plus 130. I'm sorry. You're a moron if you play that bet. You are an absolute moron. And you're basically telling me that you know nothing about betting. That's my old man rant. That's the only positive thing that I heard in all of that was that it was a 3-team bet. That was the only positive. Like, you should parlay, and this is just my advice for anybody who's new to betting. 2-3 teams max in a parlay. To your point, you can go 4 if you're doing a round robin. Round robins are definitely a specialty I really appreciate and love, mostly for the fact that you lose 1 leg out of that and you're still breaking even on your bet for the most part. So, win 2 out of 3 in a round robin, you're looking like a break even or very, very small positive ROI, very small, negative ROI. But you're never too far away where you lose the whole thing. So anybody new out there, just,
2-3 teams, dedicate yourself though. I mean, to your point, like, when you said that, I was like, I don't know what, like, I was thinking round robin in my head, thinking, oh, okay, maybe he's getting 4-1, something around those odds, like at a minimum. And you're like, he's sweating plus 130. Like, you had to have favorites of minus 200 and up, like, in that thing to even, I mean, probably a minus 800 somewhere in there.
Don't get me started on the same game parlays. Like, so here's the thing with the same game parlays. Do you guys yourself a favor? You see a same game parlay. Just look at whatever book. Hypothetically, let's say FanDuel. Look at the book and just look at what those odds are. Write them down. Google parlay calculator. Go to the parlay calculator. Put said odds that you just wrote down in the parlay calculator and see what the difference is. And then if you still disagree with me that same game parlays are foolish, I guess you just don't you just don't understand math.
Right.
Because there is a reason the book like advertising pushes them out. I had one guy who's just getting into betting, great guy. He DM'd me. He was like, hey, can you look at this and tell me what you think about this? It was the same game parlay. I go, dude, don't do it. And he's like, why? And I just took a screenshot. I go, here are the odds. They are giving you plus 250 on this. It was like a 14 plus 250. Your true odds you should be getting this are plus 750. Right. You're getting a huge discount. Same game parlays, you guys should never do them. And also, if it's a 3-team parlay and you're touting it at plus 130 and sweating it out, dude, just don't bet. Yeah. Walk away. That's my old man rant. That was I feel good getting that.
I liked it. It's good. It's a therapy session. It's good for Eric.
Feel good. Now I just need 5 more points from Karl Anthony Towns, and we're doing something.
Here you go.
I do need to stop betting Kyle. Here's the thing with Kyle Tucker. He is so good against these pitchers historically. And you look at his splits, he's good again in like the last 3-5 games, whatever. You have to bet him. Like, I don't know if you're watching the Mariners game. I thought his first one, I thought it was gone. His first at bat, I thought it was gone. So if I see the number, I see the advantage. I'm definitely going to keep betting Mr. Tucker.
And to the point of that Lakers fan right there, right? Like, it's no different than his Brian Wu strikeouts either. He'll forever play those too. So long as I've known him coming into this team, it's the one prop bet that I know this man will always be good for.
Okay, dude. I was doing my research.
Here we go. I'm not wrong.
I was doing my research today. Brian Wu, what was it? Brian Wu's ROA, his ROA percentage on first fives this year is 149%.
Okay.
I mean, dude, the guy's just a fucking stud, dude. Like, guy is just a fucking stud. I need to get on the Brian. I need to get some Brian Wu gear, man. Let's talk some takeaways, David. What is your first takeaway from the weekend, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, mine's all baseball related, right? Like, it's heartbreaking weekend losing Acuna Jr. for the season. Not just for me, but for anybody who enjoys the game of baseball or wanting to see him play in their city or what have you. I mean, this is one of those guys that makes the game great. He's exciting for everybody to watch. He's such a supreme talent. And, this is second injury in 3 years to the opposite knee this time. Just after coming back, just after an MVP season, he wasn't off to the greatest start. He was starting to warm up though, right? But, you got to start to wonder, 2 similar injuries like this within 3 years, watching the rehab, what that's going to look like for him. What type of player is he going to be when he comes back? Like, what does that mean, for, the game of ball and everything like that. I mean, you're looking at several, just key players, key stars that, Trout being another one, just a lot of injuries this season, just across the board of baseball. And, that it's just really defeating, heartbreaking to see. I mean, I know so many young fans in the game. Really look forward to seeing these types of players out there, and keeping the game exciting and fun, and just being the studs that they are. So they bring a lot of talent, they bring a lot of swag. I just really unfortunate seeing that. On the opposite foot, I was really happy to see Harper get tossed. I was really happy to see Angel Hernandez retire this week, today, actually, in fact. So, best call he has ever made in his life. As so many people like to joke, but those are all my takeaways that just kind of what I've seen over from the weekend going in, and also to anybody for the real reason that we celebrated the long weekend for Memorial Day. Definitely hats off to all the veterans and those who have served and are serving. So that is kind of my takeaway overall.
You mentioned Memorial Day. Pretty. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty badass. My dad gave me his dog tag.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, guys. So I got my dad's dog tag now. You mentioned Mike Trout. Question one: is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I think so.
Question two:
as many MVP records and everything that he set for the game. I mean, there's plenty of people that I think should be in there.
I'm not talking in there. I'm talking first ballot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I still do think so. I think of this generation, he's definitely first ballot.
Because how many awards has he won?
He won a ton.
Mike Trout awards. Here we go.
I mean, won like every single award.
MVP, three-time MVP. Silver Slugger, 3 years. Hank Aaron Award.
Some Gold Gloves too, right?
I
know he's won a few batting titles.
Pulling up his old Wikipedia. All right. 11-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, 3-time All MLB team, Rookie of the Year. 9-time Silver Slugger Award, 2-time Hank Aaron Award winner, AL RBI leader once, steals leader once.
Yeah. He's got the accolades.
Is he going to get to 500 home runs? He's at 378 right now.
No. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so either. And it's kind of crazy to think with how his career took off.
I think if he stayed healthy this season, legit chance. Like he probably would have ended up closer to 400. You said he's at 378.
Yeah.
He would have been over 400. 30-ish for the season.
Whose career at this point right now, as of today, would you rather have? Bryce Harper or Mike Trout? I mean, put Harper away. I mean, if we're just looking at it, Harper's played 40 more games. Okay. Trout 100 more runs, 100 more hits. Harper about 20 more doubles.
I mean, you kind of said it right there to me a little bit. I mean, from being just a great player, I'd say Trout. Just because, I mean, you named it out the gate. Like he's had 100 more runs, and Harper's played 40 more games. Like, and I don't know where you're talking in terms of age wise, right? Like in seasons and such. But
yeah,
at the same point, I mean, Trout. Granted, I get it. It's the Angels organization. And I know Harper's, won a championship with Washington, but I don't know.
It's just an interesting thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
I think I would go Trout for career. Like I think I would still roll with Trout.
All right. So Dave Kozak chimes in. Greetings from Texas. Opinions about shorting the baseball season to May, August. Basically 30 less games. April, trash month for outdoor stadiums.
No. I mean, you still need... I mean, you're talking spring training. Like, personally to me, I keep it there because, well, this is just a bettor's perspective too, right? Like, I need current season stats to roll in before I start betting on a season, right? I bet purely based on numbers. I am not biased in my betting that way. So I need that month of April to roll in with those stats before May because I start my betting come May. So I pretty much take that first month off of betting, let the players and everybody adjust to the season for that month, and then I start making my bets. So from a personal perspective, I wouldn't want to see that. I hear what you're saying. It's a long season. But I personally wouldn't do it because it's almost like some of them need that. Some players are actually coming into the season on extended spring training anyway. So they kind of need that first month. It's almost like that's what it is, in my opinion.
My first takeaway, my takeaway from the weekend. Carlisle is a genius, but also really bad at coaching at the same time. That out of bounds play he ran when they basically was a football set and it looked like were going 3 wide was one of the most creative plays I've ever seen in my life being around the game of basketball. Got Neesmith a wide open 3-point look, great look, chance to win the game.
Right.
And you just watch that and you're like, this guy's a genius. But we need to remember the play before, Nemhart, who had a great game, not taking that away from him, had a 1-on-2 break, and he looks back at Carlisle, and Carlisle is just telling him to go. And he pulled up a jump shot, and it was an awful possession. That was to take the lead. Personally, I would have taken a timeout there. I would have drew up the play for Pascal Siakam, who's won a championship and the only current all-star that is playing on your team. That's just what I would have done. Game 2, doesn't play any of his starters in the fourth quarter. Game 1, not calling that timeout when there was that ball in the backcourt where they're trying to inbound it, not advancing the ball. There's just been some coaching blunders from him, and you look at it and you're like, Jesus Christ. But then you see that play design and you're like, which coach are you? I feel that Indiana had a chance to make that interesting, but because some of his blunders, it wasn't as interesting as it could be. And my fear for Indiana is they're just going to become the Hawks 2.0, a team with a young guard that made a big run, decide, hey, let's not do anything with our deficiencies. Let's just run it back with who we have. And then 4 years later, they're in obscurity now, and they're looking about resetting. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen with the Pacers. But my takeaway is Carlisle's a genius and an idiot, all tied up into one. That's my takeaway from the weekend.
Fair. And go ahead.
I'm not going to lie. It is hard sometimes watching the Timberwolves play too. Like these games right here, it is hard watching them play. I'm not going to lie, dude. Don't judge me for this. What I'm about ready for, I'm going to say. Sunday night, I was home. I visited my family.
Yep.
Timberwolves came off 0-2, dead to the water. Dead. Just dead. Dude, we just started watching The Fall Guy, the movie. Like literally.
Turn it off.
I'm just watching. And my mom and dad no bother. They're like, there's no urgency. I'm like, yeah. My dad's like, you want to watch The Fall Guy? It's like, fuck yeah. So we watched The Fall Guy.
How'd you like that, by the way? I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, I'll tell you what, phenomenal movie. There's literally one scene in it, and I'm not much of a laugher. I was literally crying. I was laughing so hard, I was crying. Great movie. I suggest all you guys watch it.
There we go.
Bets, dude.
Yep.
I'm grinding out an MLB bet right now. So I got but I'll go with you, dude. What is your first bet going
Yeah,
to?
yeah. So these games are all for tomorrow. I always try to caveat ahead of time that it's based on starting pitching that is currently in place. So it's technically a probable matchup. If the pitchers change, it could change a lot of the outcome here. But starting out, we are looking at KC on the money line at plus 110. My model, definitely has this actually for KC odds to be projected true odds of minus 105. So we've definitely got about a 15-point advantage over the book line right now. That being said, when you look at it comparatively against these teams, the way that I'm looking at this is the available bullpens for tomorrow are very, very similar, right? KC sporting pretty much a 3 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, and Minnesota with a 2.6 and 1.2 WHIP. So very, very similar on the whips there for the available bullpen. Your starters, you're looking at Seth Lugo against Bailey Ober. So, Seth Lugo over his last three, 0.87 whip. You got to love that. Anything below 1, that man is doing just fine. And an ERA under 2 at 1.7. Bailey Ober, a whip 1.1. That's still good. Again, we look for anything, in good form for these pitchers to be, right around the 1 marker, if you will. Anything higher than a 1.4, you're probably looking at somebody that's given up a lot of walks, a lot of hits to the opposing team. So that being said, both these teams pitching wise are right there. Kansas City is not. And I also kind of use this rule a little bit. Now, I'm pretty sure they already lost tonight. So that'll make it 2 straight losses to Minnesota. Anytime a team's going into their series finale against each other, and if a team's looking to be swept, it's really hard to do in MLB. It's just the hardest thing to do. I always actually fade those teams. I actually gave that out over the weekend. I want to say it was on Sunday. There were teams such as the Padres playing against the Yankees. There were a few just situations, and I named them all. And every single one of those teams that was looking to get swept won their last game in that series finale as a dog. That'll be the case here for Kansas City as well. What's up?
I don't mean to interrupt you, but if they're a favorite, would you play them as well, or you just play them in a situation when they're a dog?
No, I play them as well. I'm just talking about where usually there's still favorable matchups because it's public perception that's setting that line, right?
Even if it's a team like oh, dude, I got Astros first 5. I'm not celebrating, but I'm just letting you know Bergman hit a home run. I'm not celebrating. I'm just letting you know Bergman hit a home run.
I got Astros for the game, man. Let's get on the same page.
But you said it's not just a blind angle you'll bet. It has to be a quote unquote favorable matchup. Okay, all right.
Absolutely. I'm just saying that a lot of people can actually take it as a blind angle without any handicapping. Go look at teams that are about to get swept and just be very cautious, even if it's a favorable matchup. The Giants were the other example I was thinking of from this weekend against, I want to say Philly. And that was it Philly? No, it was somebody else. Did they play at Philly? Anyway, whoever the Giants were taking on Sunday to close out the series, they were up. I don't know. They were winning their game, probably 4-2 going into the 9th. They lost the game 4-3 or something of that nature, but they lost. And it was just one of those games, again, where you could have done zero handicapping and just take a look and just go, who's about to get swept? Be very cautious about playing that favorite just for the sake of it. They've already won 2. Winning the third one is always really tough. But that's not how I'm basing this. I'm just giving an example, right? So it's a situational angle that you want to take into consideration. That being said, KC here has not lacked run support in their recent games coming in, right? They are averaging just fine, probably close to 6 runs a game right now. They just kind of run into it coming into Minnesota. Even yesterday, they put up 5 runs. I mean, teams that are scoring, greater than 4 or 5 runs a game are going to win one. This team is very hot. They're actually on my board. Where is it at? Sorry. They're actually ranked as my number 2 overall offensive team right now. So They've got the bats. They've definitely got the starting pitching going into it tomorrow, the better starter pitcher out of the two. I totally expect them to win this one just outright. Take the plus dog money where you can, run with it.
Question for you.
Yep.
So one of the plays I had circled was I was going to fade the Tigers tomorrow. But the game today got postponed, so they're playing a doubleheader tomorrow.
Yep.
Does that change your mindset? Are you like, okay, you know what? I want to do the game tomorrow, but it's going to be the second game. Bullpens could be a little fragile, so to speak. Guys could be sitting out a game because it's a doubleheader. If a game before got postponed, you had a game circle. So I had a game circle on Wednesday. Game Tuesday got postponed. If you're in that situation, do you just take it off the board? Because I usually just take it off the board. I usually just don't want anything to do with it because it isn't doubleheader. Are you the same way, or do you just kind of look at it completely different?
No, I am the same way. I definitely think you probably still have a decent edge, but you're also looking at teams now where situational angles mean that both teams got some extra rest, right? So where maybe, you had a visiting team that was going to come in and play that first game of a series, or second game, whatever the case may be. And then at that point they're not anymore, right? Now you have teams of equal rest. You don't have to worry as much. But yeah, I definitely take that in consideration. Now I don't take it in consideration maybe for the first game. So it's kind of funny that you brought up the Detroit game. That was a game that I was looking at for tomorrow. I definitely think Skubal in the first part of the doubleheader has an advantage against them. So yeah, against the Pirates for sure. So I mean, it's definitely something that I was looking at, but at the same point,
he was supposed to go today though.
I
was looking at fading Faraday tomorrow.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
to play either of them. The only real edge that I think you can have is to play the first game out of a doubleheader because you're talking about rested bullpens, everything like that, and they're going to put up probably some of their better, matchups, if you will, and most people will be available.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, and
I do shy away from it. I do.
So this is gonna blow your mind. Guess who one of the worst team this year when they're a favorite?
The worst team when they're a favorite?
Yeah, just like a worst team, like in terms of like betting ROI wise.
Huh. Philly?
Nope.
Damn. I just want it to be Philly. You want me to keep going?
It is the Tigers. So
really,
the Tigers, when they're a favorite, when Skubal pitches, are 6-2. Okay, phenomenal. When he pitches this year, they're 6-2.
Okay.
You take him out of the season, it's just a complete and utter train wreck. They have 9 total wins when they've been a favorite this year. 6 of them are at Skubal. That's amazing to me. You know what I mean? Just absolutely amazing. My first bet. Now I can go a different ways here, but I'm going to show a little camaraderie here. My first bet, I took the Royals, but I took them at plus 106 for the first 5. I know Ober has been great for the Twins, but I'm getting plus money and Seth Lugo. This month, you mentioned it, an insane 4-0, 1.83 ERA, 0.816 whip, which is insane, and I'm getting plus money for the first 5. The Royals have been a cash wagon this year in the first 5. 64% on the money line, 23.2% ROI. When they're a dog, dips down a little bit. They're 62% on the money line as a dog this year. Lugo, 8-3, 43.8% ROI. Royals have been great this year. They're top 11 in all major league categories. You mentioned how they're the second best offense per your rankings. Flip side, Twins, bottom 6 offense against right-handed pitching. I think with how good Lugo is, the Twins are going to struggle with how good the Royals have been against right-handed pitching and in the first 5. And you're getting plus money. I think this is a great bet. I think this is something you just have to make right away.
Yep, I'm with you.
Next bet, dude.
All right, so I'm doubling down tomorrow. So I posted it tonight. I love this matchup again tomorrow. Yankees at Angels. So basically my model has this. Looking at the odds already, and these are all just projections right now, right? But you got Lewis Gill for the Yankees going against Tyler Anderson. And a lot of these odds are, like I said, they're made up out of public perception of starting pitching only, right? They don't take into consideration bullpens and just overall offense. I had Angels not highly ranked, but they were middle of the pack. They're like my number 15 out of all the teams right now across baseball in terms of where their offense is. That being said, there is an edge here to play the first 5 tomorrow. So they're just like tonight, and let's fingers crossed they pull this thing out here in the next 6 outs or whatever they got left ahead of them. But that being said, the Angels bullpen is not terrible, but I don't like to put things for chance. If you got a great starting pitcher on the mound, I'm gonna just go in there, kind of like you just did with the Royals. So that being said, we're looking at these 2 starters. Lewis Gill, great form, 0.76 whip for himself, ERA under 1. Similarly, though, Tyler Anderson, whip under 1, 0.9. ERA sitting around 2. I mean, you can't hate those numbers for any starting pitcher. So what does that mean to me? It means it's a 50-50 game. My model actually has these odds actually closer to minus 110 for the Yankees, plus 100 for the Angels. It's essentially a pick 'em in my book. And you're getting plus 155. There is way too much value on this line not to take this bet. So that being said, for all those reasons, that is where I've, just done my angles, looked at some analysis. I'm going to take it away from the bullpen. Not that I think like the Angels bullpen is, severely undermatched. I mean, you're talking about a 1.2 whip. I just really think there's a lot of value in the starting pitcher with Anderson going tomorrow. Definitely one that I want to continue to make this bet at, for the second game in their series. And take the odds. I mean, it's just way too good, way too juicy to pass up.
Like it. I like it. My next bet, and I'm going out to your neck of the woods. I have a simple thing, dude.
I might be at that game.
You're going to go to it? All right.
I think so.
This is my angle. It's at 59%. Anytime a pitcher is making his first start at Coors, I'm fading him for the first 5. Like, that's just that simple.
Yep.
Ball flies. Pitchers aren't used to it. Ball sits up in the zone. And that's what we got tomorrow with Logan Allen of the Guardians. Left-handed pitcher, shockingly, looking at it, Rockies have been good this year against left-handed pitching. 13th best batting average, 11th most homers, 13th best OPS versus lefties. Also, Allen, last game looked awful. 3 innings, giving up 8 runs with a 12 ERA. I think the Rockies are going to be able to get to Allen. Obviously, I mentioned it. Love fading pitchers, first 5 making their first start. We did it on Monday when Curry made his first start against the Rockies. Rockies put up 7 through 4 innings. I expect them to be able to get to Logan here. I am taking the Colorado Rockies plus 115 for the first 5.
I love it.
Rockies baseball, baby. Rockies baseball.
Air's different out here, man. There's always that's actually one of those teams. You hear of anybody ever doing what is it like? Call them like series plays, basically, right? So you can always bet that the Rockies at home is going to be a winner at some point, and you can just I mean, the air is different. People, everything about the altitude actually is a real thing out here. So it affects pitchers differently. It affects, the team and their athleticism differently. I mean, a lot of that is just true. I mean, look at the Nuggets over this, entire season. I think they hadn't lost an entire home game for the, like
Yeah.
more than 90% of the regular season or something absurd. I just remember hearing the stat come up when it was in the playoffs. And they said something about the Nuggets never losing a home game walking into the playoffs at that point or something. It was crazy. But yeah, the altitude definitely does affect teams.
And they do that funny thing, like they show at I forget the space, the name of the arena that the Nuggets play in.
Ball arena. Yeah.
How high you are above sea level. It's absolutely hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Final bet, my friend. Where are we going?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're looking at Houston versus Seattle as my third bet. So evening game. Again, we're looking at Verlander versus Kirby as the probable starters right now for this game. So this game is, showing already a little. It's kind of showing its hand. Anytime that you see lines that are kind of made up as Mariners -115, Astros -105, that means the book recognizes this is like a true pick 'em as well. And there's, nobody's actually, a dog in this fight, walking into it. So, I look at this from the, angle of, just kind of where these pitchers are in form and everything and overall offense. So, Houston right now, let's get another win tonight. Again, I'm just kind of doubling down a little bit on Houston with the hotter bats, the better the offense. Even coming into this series, they had a better offense than Seattle. So, that's kind of how I ranked it. Verlander here, he has a whip of 1.02 over his last three, ERA under 3 at 2.5. Kirby, a very similar whip, right on the dot at 1.00. ERA closer to 5, so he had some kind of blow-up game, but it also means, those were probably attributed to errors versus, how many walks and hits he was actually giving up. So, both pitchers in great form. I give the edge to what I would call the dog in Houston. Both of their relief pitching is actually very much the same for available bullpen. They should have both, bullpens sitting with about a ERA of about 3.5 and a whip of 1.2 for each. So you can definitely take the full game. There's no real edge that you're going to find over first 5 versus the full game in this one. So I then lean, if the bullpens and starting pitching are similar, I lean with the full game to take those odds there. So I'm looking at Houston for the full game money line -105. Oh, the only other real edge that I see is that my projected line for the Astros -185. So getting a ton of value for our projected odds on this team.
All I know is Karl Anthony Towns just went over is over.
Thank the Lord, Eric's bet has cashed.
Finally, after back-to-back games of Karl Anthony Towns, I finally hit a goddamn over on him. Hello, positive shooting regression. So let me ask you a question.
Yep.
You see an advantage here. You ran your numbers and everything.
Yep.
Hypothetically, this is a big hypothetically because this is a 4-game set.
Yep.
And the Mariners won the first game.
Correct.
Hypothetically, if the Astros won that game, win tonight, going into the third game, would that have altered your thought process and taking you off the Astros? Because earlier you mentioned how I'm just trying to.
No, I've been asked that question a lot, and you're not wrong. So it is definitely a situational angle that I play with caution, right? Mm-hmm. So I look at it from still from a numbers perspective only, and I do make that assessment. So hypothetically, if the Astros did not win tonight, so Seattle won last night. If Seattle again won tonight, you were saying like if the Astros had won last night and then they won tonight, yes, I would have exercised caution about playing them tomorrow. It would play into my factor, I don't know they would stop me from betting based on how strong the numbers are in their favor, but it's definitely something that I attribute to the third game of series, not the fourth game.
Okay. All right. I just,
Yeah, no, it
it
makes
was
sense.
just something I thought. And that's a lot of variables too, because it's like tomorrow's the third game,
Yep,
it's a 4-game series, a lot of variables. I just thought I'd throw it
oh, I'm
out
with
there.
you. Yeah, I check on
Um,
those things too.
my next one, and look, I love getting grimy with these things. Give me the D-backs here, plus 100, even money for the first 5. To say Haley's been bad to start the season could be the biggest understatement ever. He's 0-6, 4.69 ERA. Last 2 outings, a 9 ERA. Hasn't made it past the 3rd inning those last 2 starts. The D-backs have been good this year against left-handed pitching. 2nd best batting average, 8th best on base percentage, 5th best slugging percentage, and have scored the 3rd most runs against left-handed pitching. So I think they're going to be able to get to Hanley. Nelson going for the D-backs, who's a righty. Rangers just middle of the pack against righties this season. Nelson is coming off a great pitching outing, went 5 scoreless innings against the Dodgers. In good form. I expect the D-backs are going to be able to get to Hanley. I don't trust their bullpen, though, so that is why I'm playing only the first 5. Also, 2nd worst team this season, first 5 at 39% is the Rangers. Negative 21.4% ROI on that first 5. For the year, Haley is the 4th least profitable pitcher in the first 5. 2-8, a negative 60.2% ROI. Haley's been so goddamn bad this year.
Oof.
So like, I'm just gonna fade the shit out of him. I want nothing to do with him. Fade central for me. Take it and run. That's it. But I don't trust the bullpen, so I'm only playing the first 5, my man. That's how I'm doing it. So
That's fair. That's fair.
hopefully we can get it done. David, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little shop. When you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend.
Yeah, anybody ever looking, for a little Q&A around some MLB, hit me up on Twitter, betterdp21. Be happy to talk with y'all. Thank you.
David, thanks for coming on. For those who don't know, this is how good of a guy David is. I sent him a text message, because the guy that was originally supposed to come on tonight, something happened up. I was like, dude, I hate to do this to you. Is there any way you can come on today, be my guest? 30 seconds later, he's like, I got you, man. I'm in. So great dude, knows his stuff. Appreciate you coming on. Make sure to give him a follow. We'll be back next week. Bryce from the I Need It Sports Pod, he's coming on. We're going to preview the NBA Finals. Hopefully me bitching about Karl Anthony Towns will be done at that point. And here's something crazy to think about. And I sent this to Brandon, who's in the NASCAR league with us. Every Boston Celtics.
Larson. God, that pissed me
No.
off.
Every Boston Celtics, because he's a huge Boston guy. Every Boston Celtics fan, their worst fear is Kyrie Irving
winning.
Yeah. And beating them in the finals, which would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Brandon, thanks for coming. Not Brandon, Jesus, David. Sorry, man. I was talking about Brandon with everything.
I know. I got it.
Dude, I'm an old man, Thanks for coming on. Talk shop, man. Make sure to give him a follow. We'll be back next week, boys.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate it.